So the new record is titled "The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead," and hopefully that's going to come out soon. Is summer still the hopeful release?
I sure hope so. I hope so, Graham. I think it's July 8th. I think that was the latest we heard for release date. I'm sure it could possibly be scooted forward a little bit, but I think that would actually be worse than if it stayed where it was at.
Yeah.
You know, you need every little bit of time to let people, get their everything all set up with all this COVID shit. And, it's been really difficult to ship anything, let alone records.
So the last time we talked, you were telling me how your son Justice is always a very reliable arbiter about new Megadeth records, that he always has a very good opinion before they come out. You said that he really liked Dystopia, that he said that a couple of the previous ones, in his opinion, weren't heavy enough. What is the official Justice review of this new record?
Oh, I know he likes it. I don't know exactly the words he was saying. I know he's super excited about it. And I think some of the things he had said, that it was the fastest. We have some songs on here that are the fastest song that he's heard us do. One of the songs actually has the fastest tempo that I think we've ever done before. And I would just have to kind of listen to it and think about, stuff from back in Killing, that period. I like to, push things as far as I can right now because of the, not only the ability, but the excitement level that Dirk and Kiko have with their playing ability right now. Our guest bassist that we had prior to finishing these parts, it was a fantastic player, and having James be part of the band again. I remember there were so many wonderful nights playing with him. So when the situation kind of revealed itself that we needed to make a change, James was pretty much the obvious choice.
Yeah, I think he was. I think the fans were very happy to see him back as well. I think that was very well received.
Thanks, Green. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's really reassuring, because the last thing I want to do is, be making decisions with my band that are going to make the music sound less than it could be.
I know a little bit of information about this record. I feel like one of the song titles. I think one of the songs was called "The Dogs of Chernobyl," right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was wondering, with that song in mind, the album title, is that a reference to like nuclear apocalypse, radiation type of stuff?
Yeah, well, it's a metaphor, of course. It's talking about in Chernobyl when everybody evacuated. And there was a show on the TV that came out somewhere around the beginning of the songwriting process on this record. And I remember seeing something on Chernobyl, and I was really moved. I thought that the writing on it was just fabulous. And all I kept remembering was, and imagining in my head what it would feel like, if here you are, you're at your home, and then one siren later, it's time to leave forever. You can never go back. What about the people that are nutty who didn't evacuate? I had a guy I was playing music with, Graham. He was the drummer in a band I was in, and it wasn't Lars, and it wasn't anybody after Lars either. It was prior to that. So I remember one time his house was for sale, and he came from really rich parents, and they had to put a tent over the house. Do you know what that is?
Oh, for bugs and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So this guy who was absolutely normal by all intents and appearances, right? Um, he and I go out drinking this night, and then he says it's time to go home. And what does he do? He goes to his old pad
Oh, God.
and he crawls underneath the tent inside of his house, and he goes and sleeps in there and gets up in the morning and carries on life like nothing happened. So there are people like that when they say get out of Chernobyl, they won't leave. But so here's what the song really is about. It says each wherever I look, I see your face. It's haunting me, and you left me behind. You
Oh,
just left like a dog in Chernobyl, because that was one of the things that was the most touching about the interview, was having the dogs.
mhm.
And if you're a dog owner, you can see expressions on the dogs' faces. If you're a pet owner, you can see expressions on most animals' faces.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the dogs. They weren't saying "I'm fucked," if you know what I mean. But if they could, that's kind of what it seemed like to me. The despair that they were putting out. I thought that is exactly the feeling I want to try and convey in this song. They're breaking up, and she's leaving him behind like one of the fucking dogs in Chernobyl. And it turned out that is one of the heaviest songs on the record.
That's awesome.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah. So it's been obviously a very bizarre time, and in part that has caused the longest period of time for Megadeth to ever go without a record release. It's been like clockwork, every 2 years, every 3 years for decades and decades. Um,
Right.
w- did all of this time working on this record, did it give you like too much time to second guess things? Was it hard mentally to figure out what to put into this album with a huge amount of time?
Well, I think you're being very kind with ignoring the fact that I was really out of. Um, I was I was I was out of order, for lack of a better term, going through the cancer stuff. So,
Sure.
I tried to heal as quick as possible. I've been cancer free for 2.5 years now, and when it happened, I didn't. Part of me was like, no, I don't. I don't have fucking cancer. You're kidding. But I certainly did. And I worked really hard to get rid of it. And I did as much as I could possibly physically training. I wasn't down with going and lifting weights and everything like that, but as much as I could do anything else that was exercise that appealed to me, I was trying. And I feel right now healthier than I've felt since I was diagnosed. I believe that I've got a lot of grace in this area, and that I believe I'm going to get better. I think my singing has improved, and I think that's going to get way better too, because I want it now. Before, I felt like I deserved it. Now, whether I deserve it or not, I fucking want it. I want to play. I want to go out and just shred on my guitar, and people go, I can't believe that he is alive and doing that.
For sure. You thought that you deserved like a redemption, like a comeback from
I
beating
think
cancer?
all musicians feel to a degree that there's things that they worked really hard for, and it would be nice to get a thank you, or to get a attaboy and stuff like that. I've never been that dude. I was never striving for the approval of other people. At some point, it mattered to me, but it wasn't something that I felt incomplete without. Now, there were people around me that I was witnessing getting others kiss their ass for things that they had done or contributed to that they really had nothing to do with, or they were getting awards and stuff like that for playing parts that they never wrote, or so on and so forth, stuff like that. And that's always kind of a bummer, like when you remember the whole Paula Abdul thing, where she had other people coming in there and singing her parts, and her trying to, allegedly singing her parts, and that she was trying to say that that was really her voice, just like when Milli Vanilli did that too.
Right.
Ba, 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 baby. Remember those fucking guys?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was. You're gonna get a lot of that great fan feedback on the metal tour of the year once it starts again in April.
Oh, thank
Of course, you're gonna get it. It's gonna be a great time, I think. And
you.
of course, there's gonna be Lamb of God, Trivium, and In Flames. And I'm guessing one of the best parts about that tour might be getting to practice jujitsu every day with the guys from Trivium, right?
Well, gosh, I'm hoping we get to work out with them every night. I hope an ideal day would be jam, work out, hang out, tell some jokes, have some great food, and then we've got some super cool surprises coming up.
As someone who's toured for 40 years, just about, what is it that makes a good tour still for you?
Well, treating people with respect, and having that mutual kind of thing going back and forth, where it's only happened, I think, twice in that whole time period where we'd ever gone out with anybody who was disrespectful.
No.
And even then, they have a way of taking care of themselves.
Sure.
These guys usually always break up, or something bad happens when they end up getting pulled off, or jumping off the tour or something like that.
So mutual respect is very important between fans.
Plus, the other thing too, I don't know if you've noticed this, Graham, but there's a lot of people like Bill, oh shit, what's his name? Bill Graham, the promoter in San Francisco. I think that's his name. He was the famous, amazing promoter, and he used to put together shows up in the San Francisco area. And what I thought was really cool about his shows was that he put together a bill, and the bands were different, but they were a little similar. Like, you see the promoters now, you go and you see there's 4 or 5 bands, they're all the same, right? And they're all baby bands, so nobody draws fucking anyone. And the tickets that they would sell, the other 7 bands on the bill would sell those same exact tickets. So it's like, what kind of a fucking ticket promoter are you? You're not a concert promoter. You're a salesman. You don't know how to put together a really good tour. So that's important too. Knowing how the bands, kind of like that cross indication when you take NyQuil and heroin. I'm just kidding. When you have to expect something different's going to happen. We did a concert one time in Europe, and it was us, Oasis, REM, Faith No More, Sheryl Crow, and Bo Diddley.
Wow.
And talk about a diverse show. It was fantastic, but it was a little bit too diverse. But I liked that better than the cookie cutter approach to most promoters, where they just get bands that are the same. It's like, you have the imagination of a fart, and come on, you're supposed to be a concert promoter. What up? I believe when the bands have a goal, and the goal is to make a really successful tour, and they're serious about putting on a great performance. A lot of times when we were starting out, we would get all the bands together the night before the show. This is what happened when we were doing Gigantor, and Gigantor was a magical thing. We would all get together the night before the tour, and we get in a circle, and we just do like a real generic kind of truck driver prayer, and just I would, when it was my turn to say anything, I would just say, thank you for, bringing all these excuse me, these guys out here, keeping them safe and watch out for the families while they're out here with me. Let them all be safe, because that's really hard too. Graham, I don't know the longest you've ever been away from home. You're in a band, right?
No, I'm not, but maybe for me, longest I've been away from home is a few weeks.
For some reason, I thought you were in a band. Okay, so anyways, when you go away from home, are you married?
No.
Okay, do you have any animals or kids?
Yes, I got a cat.
Okay, so cats are very personable. They're, a lot like kids in a way. They're a lot different from dogs. And you probably felt it when you're out on the road, just that void, that
Oh, sure.
thing that's missing. Now imagine if you were married and you had kids and all that fucking responsibility and stuff, and you're trying to do your job, and
Sure.
and you got to think about the bass player who keeps hitting the wrong note in the wrong spot, and the fact that the drummer drives tonight to the next show and he's already drunk out of his mind and we're afraid of him driving, and all these crazy things that I used to think about when I was on tour. A really good tour is when everybody takes it seriously and they're all seeking success. They all want to win. If not, what? It's like a car where you have three tires going forward and then one other one's down the other side of the road. It's like, hey, okay, listen, lefty, let's get in the right direction here, kind of thing. So
Yeah.